It is written in the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26 that we've all been created in the image and likeness of God. Lakini Wakristo wengine, they don't seem to buy these. These are not my words. You probably heard the song. And this is not even the point. That's besides the point. Growing up, we all had different images that were depicted to be the images of Jesus. And even right now, if I say Jesus, there's probably an image that comes to your mind. But then, where do these images come from? And how certain are we that that's the right image of Jesus? My name is Wairima Muthui, and today I am on a mission to actually unravel the mystery behind the image of Jesus Christ. The whole concept of lookalikes in Kenya inakuanga kitu kubwa sana. Just the other day we had the lookalike Waruga, Diamond, Jason Derulo. After there's no way you miss the drama between Jalango na lookalike wake.
Mheshimiwa aliweza kurespond akasema nifanye chenye ningefanya kama tufanani naye, but for real nafanana na wewe. I think utaki kunisaidia kwa sababu mimi si Mjaluo, mimi ni Mkamba.
And I'm not even surprised because even scientists say that in the whole world you probably have 7 people you look alike with. But then here comes Jesus. Just the other day in 2024, this guy comes all the way from Europe and he's identified by people as Yesu wa Kitengela. Oh, sorry, a look-alike of Jesus. But then, where does this come from? Because when our very own Yesu wa Tongaren and Jehovah Wanyonyi tried doing this, we never gave them a benefit of doubt.
Jina kamili la huyu mwalimu mnayemuona, jina kamili ni Yesu.
Sema kama huyu jamani Yesu wa ukweli, lazima awe kwa msalaba. Easter imefika, and personally I'm going to mobilize more than 5,000 people. Tuende kwa boma yake, tuchukue yeye na to make sure tumemweka kwa msalaba ili aoshe dhambi zetu. Kama yeye sio Yesu, tutahakikisha kwamba tumepiga viboko yenye inatakana na asiharibie jina Yesu jina.
This European guy, most people believed that's Jesus or even a look-alike of Jesus based on the photos we grew up watching. And to your shock, these photos are actually from an actor who was just picked to play the role of Jesus in the film Passion of Christ.
Preach the gospel.
And from that day henceforth, people believed that that's how Jesus looked like, or even that's a picture of probably who Jesus was. Someone like Yesu wa Tongaren was castigated by calling himself Jesus, or even for using the name Jesus to refer to himself. But do you know that it's only in countries like Kenya, which are predominantly Christian, where using the name Jesus is a taboo? To your shock, countries like Italy, Jesus is one of the 12 most common names. Yani ni kama Brayo na Kevo hapa Kenya. You have to be very careful because when you say Jesus, you might be referring to your uncle, cousin, or even your brother. Or maybe that's why we are very specific by saying Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus the Son of God. Juu Yesu amekuwa wengi sana hapa duniani.
Jesus, we thank you for bringing Red Squadron back home to us.
Kuongea ukweli, photography was invented in the year 1842. So if at all there's an existing image of Jesus or even an existing photo of Jesus, then nani alichukua hiyo picha? A good question, right? So what happens is that in the early centuries, there were people who used to practice art, and actually it got to a point whereby it was very much embraced and people started painting images. The many artists who began doing art started drawing images or even painting images, and not from a personal knowledge of who Jesus is or even Jesus was during those period, but rather from the artistic interpretation and from their traditions. And one of them is actually Leonardo da Vinci, who created or rather painted one of the most famous images of Jesus we have today, the photo of the Last Supper. These two images are actually two of the most commonly images known to be, or rather depicted as the images of Jesus. The one named Last Supper actually holds a title in history as the most expensive piece of art or even painting sold in an auction in history, whereby it was sold in 2017 at a cost of 450 million, sold to a prince in Saudi Arabia. And till to date, it's used as a graffiti in matatus, calendars at home, posters, and even in religious places where people believe this is Jesus. Yet, when Da Vinci was creating it, it was actually not from a revelation or even from a personal knowledge of who Jesus is, but rather from artistic interpretation and from the traditions of that period. Biblically, we do not have any physical description of how Jesus looked like, yet most people believe that he was this well-built guy. Juu alikuwa na background ya ufundi, he used to do carpentry with his father, and the way he was also able kuchapa watu kwa church.
Take these things hence!
And most people also agree with Isaiah, which says that he did not have any extraordinary features. He was just an ordinary and simple man. And people back this up with the fact that when Judas was about to betray him, he had to go ahead and kiss him for the Roman soldiers to actually be able to tell him apart from the crowd, or rather from the disciples. Most scientists and professors of theology argue that probably Jesus looked like the Semitic people or even the Middle Eastern men of his time. However, there has not been any backup, because also some Africans and even Elon Musk believe that Jesus was actually black. Not to rule out photography completely, in the 1980s, a Kenyan Catholic nun by the name Sister Anna Ali, when she visited Rome, she claimed to have received visitations from Jesus Christ. By this, she was actually requested to take photos because most people were not believing. So she was given a camera and requested the next time that Jesus visits, she should actually take a photo, show the people for them to actually believe. So in August 1987, she received a visitation from Jesus Christ, and she requested him to actually pose and took the photo. To her surprise, the camera went off after the photo was taken. Again, in the year 1988, on June 18th, she received another visitation from Jesus Christ, and this time round, she had to use another camera. She took the photo again, and then after showing the pictures, the camera went off. The cameras have still been stored for remembrance, but yet, the photos, people still believe that probably she saw Jesus, because after careful analysis, these photos were seen to have a close resemblance with an image that was believed to be of Jesus from 1976. So you're probably wondering, then how did all these images get to Africa, or even get to our homes, or even get to Kenya? So during the colonial period, when Europeans came to Kenya, they actually were in a process of spreading their culture as well as religion. And as you know, with Kenyans, kuona kitu sio the same na kusikia. And at a time that they were facing language barrier and communication barrier, they actually came with photos of the Jesus they were spreading to people to actually help people understand the gospel better. And as you know, a photo is worth 1,000 words. So as they were spreading the gospel, these photos of the image of Jesus also help people understand and actually believe the gospel of Jesus Christ. With the rise of technology and the era of social media, these photos have actually been spread to more people, generation to generation, whereby people have come to actually believe that these images depicted to be of Jesus is exactly how Jesus looks like. Many have claimed to have seen him in visions, in dreams, in revelations, yet we do not have really a clear picture of how exactly Jesus looked like. A question to you, I'll actually leave you to be the judge. Have you maybe been worshipping the wrong image of Jesus? And that image that comes to your mind the moment I mention the name Jesus, how certain are you that that's how Jesus looks like? Or have we maybe been made to believe that that's how he looks like? For Green Media, my name is Wairima Muthui. Thank you for joining me on the mission. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, and also leave a comment. See you next time.